and welcome to my very real cooking show. We're going to be making two different things today. Now let's start off with the first one, just right away. First thing you're going to need, 2 pumps of soap. Now we're going to bring in our apple cider vinegar. Don't be afraid to be generous. It smells good already. And lastly, your finest sugar. Just a little bit. Stir it all together. And you have a fruit fly trap, which I'm going to be needing because there are lots of fruit flies around. This is not for human consumption. Please don't eat this. And now, for the actual recipe. As I know, humans and fruit flies have different tastes. Alright, now the thing I'm going to be showing you how to make today are Snickerdoodle cookies. Because I know that it's fall now, and everyone associates cookies with fall. Now this is just a stereotype. Cookies can be eaten at any time of the year. But if you're like the majority of the population and you don't know that yet, that's fine. We'll just keep doing cookies in fall and then we'll just ease you into winter and spring and summer cookies as well. So we're gonna be making Snickerdoodles today. These are my personal favorite cookie ever. So the fact that I'm making them with you today is just a testament to how many times a week I actually do make these and consume them. The first thing that we're gonna be doing is reading the recipe. Now this is important if you want to know the steps. The recipe says to preheat my oven to 375 degrees Fahrenheit. Just gonna pull out my rubber band. Phew. Okay, it's going. The first thing it says is 1 stick of butter, or a ½ cup of butter. All right, we have a ginormous box of butter. It says this is 1½ pounds. So, oh my. Oh goodness. So this kind of stick of butter is not the kind that I was thinking of. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 15 tablespoons. It's random. 16 tablespoons. Oh boy, now I have to do math. This is the equivalent of 2 sticks of butter, so I will be cutting this in half now. All right, let me just. I'm so strong. So now we have 2 halves of butter. 1 half is going to be going back into the box. This half, however, is the chosen half. So I will be softening this. It doesn't specifically say to soften it, but let me just give you a little insight. If you don't soften the butter and then try to beat it, you will break everything in your kitchen. So that's a no-no. I'm going to get a bowl and I'm going to microwave it now because I'm not the kind of person who can commit to baking cookies like 2 hours before they do it. This butter is going to be warming up for approximately 7 seconds. From years of experience, I've found that that is the perfect time. But all microwaves are different, and that time is not going to work for you. Butter is softened, and we have completed step 1. Actually, that wasn't even a step on the list, so we're just creating more work. I'm bringing out the mixer now because I don't want to stir this by hand. If you don't have a mixer, that's okay. We're just going to be really ripped by the time we're done here. I'm using my trusty KitchenAid mixer, and I'm using this attachment. I think it's called like the cow's stomach attachment. We get a spatula and we pour the butter into the mixer. So it says to turn on the mixer, so I'm going to be doing that now. I'm putting it on stir for 30 seconds. Okay, so now all our butter is really beat up. We're going to add a cup of sugar, a 1/4 teaspoon of baking soda, and a 1/4 teaspoon of cream of tartar. We're gonna have to get a little fancy with the ingredients here. A cup of sugar, a cup of sugar. For those of you new to baking, this is not a cup of sugar. This is a cup of sugar. If it is not labeled as 1 cup, it is not 1 cup. So just be careful. Baking can be hazardous if not done correctly. All sorts of health problems occur every year from an overdose of sugar. All right, so we have 1 cup of sugar. All right, now we're doing a 1/4 teaspoon of cream of tartar and baking soda. This is a 1/4 teaspoon. Notice how tiny it is. If your 1/4 teaspoon looks something like this, something is wrong. Be careful. Again, baking can be hazardous. Also, I should mention that this should not be done without an adult or trained professional nearby. Since I'm neither, I'm taking the biggest risk of my life today. What can I say? I'm a rebel. And now the baking soda. Also, I must mention the difference between baking powder and baking soda. Immensely huge. Those are in, and now I'm being told to beat until combined. So I'm just gonna beat until combined. It's combined. Things are sticking to the side of the bowl, so I'm going to scrape the side of the bowl. It doesn't specifically say this in the instructions, so I'm kind of going off the beaten path by doing this. Now, nothing is sticking to the side. Everything is transferred onto the surface of my spatula. The next thing we're gonna need is 1 egg and a half teaspoon of vanilla. All right, it's going in. If you accidentally put in too much vanilla, it's best to just scrap the entire thing because you will die. All right, now I'm going to be putting in 1 blue egg. It doesn't have to be blue, I just prefer the color. If you're not familiar with eggs, this is what it looks like. Just kind of like this. I'm going to be using the dish that we heated up with the butter in to crack the egg into, so that if there's any shells, we don't have to fish it out of the entire mix. 1 big shell did just fall in, so there we go, got it out. So I'm pouring in the egg, the vanilla's already in, beat until combined, so here we go. Done! All right, now it's time for the flour. It says to use all-purpose flour, but I'm kind of like a health freak, so I go for the whole wheat kind. So we're doing 1.5 cups of this. And I would like to suggest that you do not pour it in all at once. Just do it very, very slowly. Take your time. Just 1 tap at a time on the edge of the bowl is all you really need. You know, I just realized I should probably be wearing a hairnet. 1 cup in. And we've got another 1/2 cup. Don't get crazy. Care about your ceilings, take your time. If you're allergic to wheat, take it slow. So it looks totally combined, but there's a bunch of stuff up against the side of the bowl, so I'm just gonna get that back with its family. Do you guys prefer cookie dough baked or not baked? I do not like cookie dough unless it is thoroughly cooked. Unpopular opinion. We've got ourselves like a perfect dough today. Before I forget, I should tell you that to make this recipe my own, I need to make 3 changes. So first change that I'm going to give you is you're also going to add in 4 invisible dandelion seeds just for wishing purposes. Dirt, because it gives it like that golden brown look. And then thirdly, you just need to make sure that throughout your whole process that you're just making sure that the dough stays happy. So just like happiness checkups. If it's not feeling happy, sing a song, take it for a walk. I don't know, every dough is different, so just whatever your dough responds to best. Here's what it's looking like so far. It's about the consistency of wet Play-Doh right now, just for reference. Now for our final step, we're gonna be mixing together a teaspoon of cinnamon powder and 2 tablespoons of sugar, and you can substitute sugar with sprinkles if you want to. I need a teaspoon now. Put the mixer away, I'm not gonna clean it just yet for the sake of entertainment. Anyone ever do the cinnamon challenge? That was an interesting time in our lives. 1/2 teaspoon, another 1/2 teaspoon. This cinnamon won't wash off. Oh, you stubborn spice. I'm not really feeling in the sprinkle mood today, so I'm just gonna, that wasn't as graceful as I was hoping it would be. I'm gonna get myself 2 tablespoons of sugar and 2. Now I only got a little bit on the floor today, so that's an improvement from last time. Mixing it together, the teaspoon of cinnamon and the 2 tablespoons of sugar. I call this the Merlot method. And now we have brown sugar, not to be confused with brown sugar. Now I'm gonna get myself a cookie tray. This is what my cookie tray looks like. Maybe you have one similar. Maybe yours is round. Maybe you're using muffin tins and you're terribly confused. Who knows? I'm getting a tablespoon. You know, I think they're the same size. Interesting. I'm just taking scoops about that size, rolling them up. They shouldn't be sticking to your hands. If they are sticking to your hands at this point, please add more flour. Unless you're not using your natural hand. And now we're going to roll the cookie dough ball in the cinnamon sugar. Now don't be afraid to be generous here either. If you under-sugar your cookies, you're just gonna have like these really bland tasting floppy disks. I know that's not what a floppy disk is, don't judge me. Rolling it around, having a good time. Just gonna roll these up. And also usually I can get away with putting these pretty close together because they don't really spread out too much. Usually, maybe it's my climate. I live at sea level. I don't know if that's gonna help anything. One last cookie. You guys are so patient. Imagine if I hadn't sped up this montage. What a day we'd be having then. So my cookies are looking like this. I hope you can see them. I just don't want to tilt them because they like to slide. So here's what they look like. And my final step is going to be pressing them down just a little bit because I like flat cookies. And I don't know if this helps, but I do it every time. And then it's worked. All right, now they're going into the 375 degree oven for 11 to 13 minutes. I'll usually do like 11, and then if they're not ready yet, add more time. Maybe I'm the only one. So while your cookies are in the oven, there are all sorts of ways you can occupy your time. One thing that I like to do is prepare for the exodus from the oven and grab my oven mitts so that I don't burn my hands off when I go to get them, because I'm just so excited and forget sometimes. A cork board for setting the tray on, and a cooling rack. This is helpful for if you want your cookies to cool down ever. If you don't put your cookies on a cooling rack, they're just gonna stay hot for infinity and beyond. And we have ourselves a spatula for removing the cookies from the pan, because again, we like our fingers how they are. Another thing I like to do is clean, but not everyone loves cleaning. So if you don't want to clean, that's fine, just leave it for your mom. Or you can do a really fun thing and roll up all the rest of the cookies while your hands are the consistency of butter. So I'm gonna turn off the camera now, and I'll be back in like 2 minutes. The beauty! Wow, baking is such a fulfilling task. All right, so that was 11 minutes. And now we have these lovely cookies that are edible that we can eat at any time we want. And if you're like me and you want to turn these into a little more of a healthy snack at times, maybe have one for breakfast, or maybe have 4 for breakfast, you can always take some carrots and lettuce and just top some with some lettuce, maybe just a couple carrots, just throw those on. And this makes it healthy and also slightly less enjoyable. And that's it. That's all I've got for today. And if you want the list of ingredients, I'm going to be putting it in the description. Let me know if you make them and if you like them, and eat your vegetables. All right, bye. Oh my goodness, I just had a terrible thought. What if the taste of lettuce and carrots has just transferred itself onto my wonderful cookies? Frailty, thy name is Cookie. Defend yourselves. Oh, almost forgot to press them down. That would have been catastrophic. Did I mention you don't have to grease these pans? Turns out quantities of butter are so large that you need not grease the pan. Handy. Doesn't smell like lettuce. Oh, heavenly angel. I do taste it.